and welcome to day 3. I cannot believe that we are already Wednesday. I hope you are having an amazing day. I'm just bringing up the chat here. Let me know if you are watching live or if you are watching the replay. Say hi in the comments. Let us know. Make sure that you can hear us, see us. I guess you just see me at this point, but we have an amazing lineup. Listen, social media is always a hot topic. Hello, Larissa. It's so amazing that you're popping in for day 3. Social media isn't like, it can be a hot topic, right? Which platform do you want to be? Do you want to be in every one of them? Which one do you choose? There's so many questions. I know you have a lot of questions. Hello, Rosie. Hey, from Virginia. Amazing. Thank you for letting us know that you can hear us. That is amazing. So let me take you on a little journey here of what's happening today because it is exciting. I'm excited. So first off, we start with Instagram. Then hello. So then we go into Facebook. Had like a little brain meltdown here. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, blogs, and Pinterest. I mean, how excited is this? Now let me know, which platform are you in currently? And maybe it's another platform. Obviously, there's also things like TikTok, Voice, Clubhouse. Maybe we'll have to have like a whole other day on social media only. But for today, I've chosen the most popular. So definitely let me know, which platform are you in, or which platform are you interested in learning. So I'm just about to bring on our first speaker. So we're going to say hi. Hi, Joanne. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. So Joanne is our Instagram expert today. And we're about to dive into a lot of Instagram tips, launch tip on Instagram, because obviously this is all about launching. But why don't you let us know a little bit more about you before we just dive in and get started?
Yeah, so my name is Joanne, and I am one of the co-founders of the two Virtual Savvy Sisters. So the other co-founder is like my real life little sister, and we kind of just came together one day because we both decided that, we have multiple kids that we want to be home for. Mine are like in that teenage phase, hers are still in that like elementary phase. But we just really wanted that time freedom to be where we needed to be. And so we were like, let's jump online and see what we can do. So we started just as regular virtual assistants, and now we worked up our way to, being social media managers and Instagram coaches. And so there's that. And then I am a travel junkie. I love traveling anywhere and everywhere. So this whole COVID thing has, put a damper on my soul. I feel
Oh
like
gosh,
I'm
I feel
stuck
you.
at the moment.
Yes.
But I'm excited to start traveling again in the new year. So I have a few trips planned out in my head now to actually just put them onto paper. It's going to be great.
Right? Oh my goodness. I feel you on so many levels. It is funny. So I actually have a teenager and I have a toddler. So he's in preschool. So the toddler needs you, and then as soon as you put him to bed, the teenager pop off.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I
Goodbye,
always used to
women.
think like, oh, the teenage phase is going to be so fun because they're going to need you less. But I find they need you so much more and on such a different level that I just was not prepared for.
Yes. And math, homework. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. We could have a whole other discussion, because why do they keep coming up with new math? I did all of the math, college, everything, and he comes home and I'm like, I've never seen this.
Yeah.
Have a little meltdown. No, I totally get it. And I've also, over the last year, worked into the virtual space, more into the launch events. Obviously, I love launching. I love events. I can do these in my sleep. I love them. So I was more into that space, but I understand as well how much time it can take and how much time cannot be your own. So I love your journey. I love the journey you're on. We're on some similar journeys, so that's amazing. So we have some people in the audience. Larissa says that she's personally not on any platform yet, but she's going to be working on her online presence. And
Mm,
Rosie is on Facebook right now, but she's really, really excited to learn about Instagram, the
yay.
platform that keeps changing.
Yeah.
All right, so
Oh,
why
yeah.
don't yes, so the floor is yours. Why don't we dive in and get started on all things Instagram?
Perfect. So I really just want to focus on three main areas when it comes to your live launch. And that would be what you need to be posting on your news feed, what you should be doing in your Instagram stories, and then the DM, so your direct messages. And there are three parts that are all so different, but they're going to come together so well during your launch. And then they all play their own little part as well. So your news feed when it comes to your live launch is going to be the place where it has the lowest sales. So if you're trying to directly make sales from Instagram, your news feed is going to be the place where that's where less of your sales come from because it's not really where you're selling from. And so you want to make sure as you hit that launch, even before I talk about the launch, is your pre-launch is making sure you have stuff in order for that. So is your bio updated? And what I mean by that is, do you have your link in your bio where you're leading people? So if you're in a pre-launch, do you have a wait list that you want people to sign up for to get them on your email address? So make sure you have a link if you have a wait list. If not, just you can leave the link however you want it for now. But the other thing I recommend is in your launch period, your link should only have one. And I know a lot of people use Linktree, and I'm one of them. I love Linktree. But at the same time, when I'm launching something, I don't want to direct them to something where there's other options and get them off of track because then they're going to be like, oh, what did I come here to do again? What am I
Yes,
looking
you're just
for?
describing my entire life here.
So I just want them to have the link directly to the sales page. And that's where I want them to stay focused is, do they need my program, my service, whatever it is I'm trying to sell them? That's what I want them to focus on. So Linktree is great. I'm not saying don't use it, but I would recommend during a launch to just have one link that they can only click in your bio. So the other thing with your news feed is this is the first place where people are going to see you if they're not your current followers. So this is really where you want to provide that education. So during your pre-launch, I want you to think about what problems do my ideal client customer have and how can I solve that? And I want you to provide that value in the news feed. So I don't want you to think of the news feed as this is where I'm going to just put my program out there and hope that they buy. I want you to provide the value so that if people who are not following you are coming to you, they're going to say, oh, she's giving this value to me for free. What am I going to get inside of the course? And not only that, during your pre-launch, when you're providing that value, it's kind of leading up to your program, service, whatever of what you're going to be selling. And then it's just going to flow well together where they're not going to be, surprised that something new is happening from you. And then you want to make sure you have call to actions at the end of all of your newsfeed posts. So whether it's asking them a question or trying to learn more about, what they need help with, just don't leave the post blank. I actually just did a live call with somebody yesterday on my Instagram about call to actions because I find that we write this beautiful post and then we just end it. And then people are like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? But we want people to engage with our posts because the more we engage, the more Instagram loves that. And then they're going to show your newsfeed posts to other people who are outside of your audience. So always have some sort of call to action. It doesn't really matter if it's at the top or at the bottom, just have something where you can get people engaged with you. And then during that launch period, that's such an amazing opportunity to share testimonials in your newsfeed, because then people can see those transformations, how other people have been helped throughout your program. And then those carousel posts. So the carousel posts, if you haven't really used Instagram, are those ones that have multiple pictures. And what some people don't know is Instagram actually favors those a lot as well. So even though they're all about video right now, they love people using those carousel posts. And I love them as well because you can put such a little amount on a graphic, but it can speak so much volume and give so much value to somebody. And so when you're using those carousel posts, that's where you can share about the program, but you can feature what the benefits are, what the transformation they're going to get from it. And just so much information where you don't really feel like you're trying to sell to them, but you're just showing them what it is that they're going to get from whatever it is that you're launching. And the important thing is most people will say, post once a day. You don't need to post every day, da 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 da. During your launch, a lot of people are going to post more than once a day, or multiple times throughout the week. And don't feel like people are going to get sick of what they're seeing, because most people are not going to see all of your posts anyway. So even though you're putting all this hard work into posting, don't feel like you're like shoving something down somebody's throat, because only a small percentage is seeing it. So it's okay if you're posting a lot more than normal over on Instagram during your launch period. And that's what you want to do. You want to get as many eyes on your stuff as possible.
That's so true, right?
So,
Because selling, people have to see your stuff. I don't
yeah.
even remember how many times. 11, 14, a lot of times,
Yeah, a lot of
right?
times. And that's the thing, is we get scared that if we post more than once, people aren't going to like us. And then, they're like, oh, they're going to think I'm, posting too much, and they're going to get bored of me. They're not going to see all of your stuff anyway. So don't worry too much about it. So that's really about the news feed. The next part is your stories. And my heart beats for Instagram stories. Like, I love teaching about it. I love talking about it. I love doing them. Anything Instagram stories, I absolutely love. And this really is where the magic starts to happen during your launch, or really any time in your Instagram journey, because this is where people are starting to build that trust with you. You're going to start building that relationship with them, and they get to see a little bit more about who you are as a business owner, as a person. This is where you get to share more than just your business. You get to share your life. And so in your stories, this is about, I don't want to say low, medium, high, but this is where the medium amount of your sales will come from during your launch, is your stories. And what you want to do before your launch is create that excitement. So you don't want to go into your launch and show up on an Instagram story and say, guess what, guys, I'm launching this program. And they're going to be kind of like, what? What are you talking about? You're launching something. So you want to create that surprise before you launch. And this is where you can show your behind the scenes. So maybe you're creating your program as you speak, and then you're just like, hey guys, I'm working on something special today. I can't wait to share with you. Have a countdown going in how many days that you're going to be announcing what this new program or product could possibly be. This is where you get to demonstrate your expertise. So you could be using those short clips of 60 seconds, and then they're broken down into 15-second clips, but you have that full minute to share your expertise. And so people can see you a little bit more than just a news feed post. They can hear you, they get to interact with you. And then during your launch, this is where you're going to share your product and your service. And you can do this in so many ways. You can do videos, you can do graphics, you can, if you're doing reels, you get to share your reels to your stories. Like, I just feel like Instagram stories is your hub spot for all of your content that you're creating. And so anytime you're creating something, you need to make sure it's going into your stories. And if you have a wait list, I mean, share a graphic that says sign up for my wait list. Or now that everybody on Instagram has the link sticker, put your link in that link sticker and make sure people can click on it. I will say one little quick trick about that link sticker is don't use it all the time, because it takes away from that connection that you need to be building in your DMs. And we all know that, having that one-on-one connection is going to get you more, a better chance of getting that sale than just telling somebody to click your link and check it out themselves. And then throughout all this time during your launch, when you are sharing all these graphics, these videos, save them to your highlights. And I'm not a big person on the highlight buttons. I don't find them like super useful, but during the launch, I think they're so great, because if people really want to find out all of the information that they might have missed before, they can go to that highlight and they can watch all of your old clips and see all the graphics. And so I think that's a really great place to keep stuff. And just remember that your Instagram stories also need to be interactive, because this is how you're really going to get into the DMs. So make sure you're using the quiz sticker, and make sure you're using the polls, and you could do ask me anything. Those stickers are so great, because when people are interacting with you, that's your invitation to send them a direct message and start that conversation. And I know a lot of people are scared of the DMs because they don't want to seem like that person that's kind of just bombarding other people to buy their stuff. But when they've interacted with your poll, they've started that conversation with you already. They might not know that, but they have, because they've answered your question. And now you just get to go back in and respond to them. And so this is where it leads to the DMs, where most of your sales would happen, because you're having one-on-one conversations with them. So that's why it's so important to have your Instagram stories interactive, is so you can see who's actually paying attention to your stories, who's interested in what it is that you're trying to sell, or what value you're providing, what you want to know. So what I would suggest is, when you get into somebody's DMs, don't start with hey, I have this, live launch. I hope you want to join. Here's my link, because people are going to be turned off by that. But if I say, hey, what's your favorite color? And you say purple, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, purple is my favorite color too. I have my bedroom's purple. This is purple, And then I'm going to ask you another question back. And that conversation has started, and it's very genuine. It's very authentic. I'm not trying to sell you anything. And what people have to understand as well is that it takes time. So you can't just send one message and then expect that person to buy from you right away. This is a journey for them. So what I mean by that is, when somebody follows you, that's the start of their buyer's journey. They're going to follow you. They're going to make sure that what you're providing in your newsfeed is something that they want from you. And then when they get into your stories, that's where that trust is being built. That's where your relationship is being built with them. So that when you get into the DMs and you start having those conversations, it's not going to feel yucky. It's not going to feel gross. It's going to be, it's going to feel like you're talking to a friend. And you have to remember that you are talking to a friend. You're not talking to a stranger anymore, because you've built this relationship with them. So it shouldn't seem scary, even though, we all have something we're scared of. And there's even times where I go into my DMs and I'm like, oh, okay, this is really scary, but it has to be done. And that's okay. So just remember to start these conversations before your launch. Allow it to take some time. And then don't be scared to offer them your product, service, whatever it is that you're launching.
I love that. I have a few questions as well that
Yeah.
I got into my emails, every time. It happens every time, right? You have like the social media guru coming on and all the questions starts flooding in. So listen, how do you know if Instagram is your platform? A lot of the things that we do as entrepreneur is we're shown all of these shiny objects, and it's really hard to pick which one is the right one
Hmm.
for us, and we can always grow. You grow one platform at a time, you move on to the next, because all the strategies, some of them, the strategies are the same, some of them are completely different. So you don't want to try and grow all of the platforms at
Yeah.
the same time. You have to concentrate on one if you love your sanity. So one of the biggest questions that I get is, how do I know that Instagram is for me?
Right. And so I find this is a difficult question because what I'm going to say is Instagram is one of the, if not the top selling social selling platform right now. So, I mean, when I first went on there, I was like, I don't think this person's on here. I don't think my person is on there. And we first started with coaches. And the minute you start looking for coaches on Instagram, those are the only people you're going to find because you're specifically looking for that person. And so we deal with a lot of product based businesses now, those in direct sales. So there's no doubt that our clients are on Instagram. Um, but what I will say is definitely take the time to do some research. And so that's where a little bit of hashtag research would come in handy and just think, okay, if my ideal client was on Instagram, what type of hashtags would they be using? And it doesn't need to be complicated hashtags. You don't need to come up with like research 100. Like even just think of like the top 5 hashtags you think your ideal client would be using and see what types of posts people are coming up with on there. And that's where you really get to determine, Kate, is that actually the type of person I would want to serve? Or maybe my person's not really on this. So I find like a lot of, I know I could be completely wrong when I say this, but I don't find there's a lot of corporate people on Instagram.
That
I
would be
would
more
say that would
LinkedIn.
be like LinkedIn,
Yeah.
right? And that's the same. Like I know that we have clients in the product based business on LinkedIn, but they're much harder to find than if I were to research them on Instagram.
I love that. And we have a few minutes left. So I'm just going to bring up the question.
Yeah.
Don't be mad. Can we talk about Reels? Instagram
Yes.
is very, very, very big on Reels right now. One,
Yeah.
do you have to do Reels? Can you grow organically without Reels?
Yep.
Is one of the top questions, concern, um,
Yeah.
that I think I've heard this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because reels are scary. Like that's one of the things is do I have to show my face if I do a reel? Do I have to dance? Do I have to lip sync? Like all those types of questions. And I will say that if you want to grow at a faster pace, reels will help you. Do you need to do reels? Absolutely not. There are hundreds and thousands of people who are on Instagram who are not doing reels because again sometimes your audience is not going to be attracted to them. However, what helps with reels is that they have a bigger reach because Instagram is favoring them. Instagram is favoring videos altogether, so maybe you feel more comfortable just doing a live video instead of you know making a reel where you feel like you have to do all these different dances and stuff, and you don't have to dance. I'm not a dancer. You'll rarely see me dance in a reel. And the nice thing about them too is you don't have to show your face in a reel. You can show behind the scenes. If you have a product, you can show your products. It's more of just making sure you're finding some trending audio because Instagram likes when you're using something trending. They're not favoring any reels that have the TikTok watermark on them, so you can get rid of those.
I did not know that. That's awesome tip. Not that I'm
Yeah.
on TikTok, but that's awesome.
But yeah, you don't need to have reel or do reels to grow. I will just say that you probably won't grow as fast if you don't want to get into them. But I love reels. I think they're fun. It's just
I
important
am
to know
learning
that,
to love reels.
yeah, and it's just important to keep them to your niche. So you see all these fun ones that you want to do, and you're like, oh, I could do that. But you have to make sure that whatever reel you're making is still trying to attract your ideal client. Because if you're growing your Instagram with all these funny reels, well, those people might not even be your buyers to begin with. And then it's kind of defeating the whole purpose of using them.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, thank you so much. Some
Yeah,
awesome tips. And I know that you have a present, you have a gift for the audience today. So do you want to tell us about that? I'll put it in the chat.
perfect. So, yeah, I have a little guide on how to create stories that get engagement. And so, with this guide, I'm going to show you 5 different stories that you can make that are interactive, that will help get that engagement started so you can get into those conversations in the DMs. And then you never know, some of them might start helping you make more sales because we're going to really show you what you need to be posting in those stories.
Amazing. I don't know why I can't find it live on Facebook. Yeah, November. Maybe I have to refresh. Cheese whiz. That's okay. We put it in the chat here so people should be able to see it, especially on YouTube. And here I am. See if I can put that into the comments. Here you go. And I will put it into the email later tonight. So thank you so much
Perfect.
for
Thank
all of your
you.
Instagram tip. I know that Instagram is a very hot topic for anybody starting a business. I started a brand new Instagram account last week for the sole purpose of sharing the behind the scene how
Mm,
to tips and tricks. I'm excited to see. I am sucking off the reels, so I'm doing daily reels. I will let you know how fast it grows. We'll see. I love experimenting. I love numbers. I love to
yeah.
see what works, what doesn't work. So for me, as an entrepreneur and as somebody like don't I stopped seeing it as failing. Basically, I only look
Yeah.
at the numbers. Hey, did that work? Oh my God, yes, it did. Did that work? Nope, it did not. Let me see what. And then I become obsessed with the numbers and how can I make things better or trying to understand them. And that's working really, really well for me in terms
Yeah.
of
And even
not
with the
feeling rushed.
reels, like speaking about the numbers, I don't want people to get discouraged if they make a reel and nobody sees it, what within like that hour or whatever. I've had reels that I've made and then a month later they started going viral.
That's
So don't
awesome.
think, oh my goodness, nobody watched my reel. I better delete it. Do not delete the reel. Just leave it and let it just do its thing because it might come around and people might see it way later on.
I love that. So if you're
Yeah.
listening, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or the replay, drop your Instagram handle in the comments so that we can come and say hi and encourage you, especially if you do a reel. We'll come comment on it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for
Yes.
joining us, and we'll chat with
Yes.
you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right. So that is awesome, right? So Instagram is such a hot topic. So it's amazing to hear from experts. Definitely if you have any questions, well, for Joanne, she's into the Facebook group. So go and say hi, post into the group, ask any question that you like. Now we're about to jump into Facebook. I believe Facebook would be the number one, the most popular platform that everybody just starts with. So we have Danielle. Hello, Danielle.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing really, really well. Thank you. So we have Danielle here as our Facebook expert. We're going to talk about Facebook marketing. Now, Facebook is one of those platforms where I believe, I could be wrong, where people actually start from, right? Because you start on Facebook more from a personal side. You have your friends, your family, your million aunts and uncles on Facebook. You can find your high school friends. So I feel like Facebook is where almost everybody starts out. But when it's time to build a business, um, it can get slightly more complicated, right? There's a few things. So I'm super, super excited to be talking with you about the Facebook marketing. So before we jump in, did you want to tell us a little bit about you, your story, and how you got here?
Yep. So I'm excited to talk about Facebook with you guys because that's actually where I got my start in the world of social media marketing too, and that was back in 2014. So first of all, I am happily married for coming on 10 years now. We have two little girls and a third on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I homeschool on top of having the social media marketing business. And then my husband and I also have another business outside of that where we coach and mentor people in developing more financial independence in their life. And so very busy, very full life. And I think that's an important thing for people to know because you can actually like do social media for your business, and I do it for other people's businesses, and it doesn't have to be a time sucker for you, okay? So I just wanted to lay that out there, like you can have a busy life and still be killing it on social media. But I got my start in the industry in 2014 when I started working for a marketing and advertising agency here in Kansas City. Spent a few years there. That's really where I cut my teeth, got to learn a lot. If you guys remember, like it's not that long ago, but 2014 was when Facebook business pages was only a year and a half old. And Facebook advertising, I think, came out in 2012, perhaps. I might have my dates wrong, but doing business on Facebook was so new when I got started in the industry. And so I've seen a lot of growth. I've seen a lot of changes, a lot of good changes, a lot of changes that I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like, who's in your think tank groups? But that's neither here nor there. And where I've kind of grown to, I left the corporate environment. I decided that working for myself and building a business based on my values and how I wanted to be able to serve local small businesses and online entrepreneurs. I want to be able to write the book in my terms, right? And be able to have the flexibility and freedom to help people the way that I saw fit. And working inside the corporate environment, I was doing their thing. And so broke out and decided to do my own. And I've been in business for myself since the summer of 2018. There's no turning back. And I love, love, love talking social media strategy. And between Facebook and Instagram, that's where I spend the most of my time. So I'm glad that we get to talk about Facebook today.
Oh my goodness, me too. It is so true when you think back of the first time, we got Facebook. I'm starting to feel old. I think my husband, we were going for a walk and he's like, did you know we were older than Google?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would we even talk about this? But anyway,
I couldn't be on Facebook without my college email address. That's how old I am. Like they opened it up to college students first, and then they opened it up to high schoolers, but you couldn't even get verified unless you had a school email. That's how old we are, guys, okay?
Yeah, slow down. That's okay. It's all good because we're learning, we're evolving, and I love that you're home with your girls. I definitely feel you. Over the past 2 years, I think everybody understands just how absolutely crazy busy that you are, but you do the things that when we talk about being busy, we choose our busy. And I love that you are building your businesses. And I absolutely love that you say that we can't, social media doesn't have to be a time sucker, because it can be if you don't use it wisely, right?
Right. Yep.
Awesome. So let's dive right into some marketing strategies with Facebook.
Yes. Okay. So where I want to start, before we get into strategy, I think it is important that people understand the importance of like just creating content consistently, right? I think it's really easy, especially as maybe a new business owner, getting into the social media world. You're seeing your peers, you're seeing your competitors, you're seeing other people look like they're just killing it, right? And they're creating content pieces, what feels like every hour, right? It feels like it's all the time. And if you're just getting started, you've got to make sure that you've got the right mindset around like, where's your starting point? Because they all started at 0 too, and they probably built up systems and consistency so that they can do more cool, trendy things. I just had a coaching call yesterday with a lady that I work with who she really wants to get into Reels. And I heard you talking to Joanne about that. And she really wants, but not digging on her and anything, but she doesn't even use Instagram on her phone yet. And so she's just posting stuff on Instagram from Creator Studio. And I'm like, I know you want to do Reels. And she was like, I know, but I just see everybody doing it and it's what everyone's talking about. And I really need to be on. And I'm like, yes, but we also just need to focus on the basics, right? And so I think it is important. If you don't currently have a foundation built of creating content consistently, then any strategy you try to put on that foundation will fall through because your foundation isn't strong. Right? Do you agree? I mean, you probably see this a lot.
1000%. And one of the great things, once you're building content consistently, I cannot stress this enough, you need, it doesn't matter how you do it, it doesn't matter how you organize yourself, but you need a content database and you need to reuse that shit, okay? It's like when you do your laundry, okay, you clean it and you put it back on. You needed to put it back out there. You don't need to recreate. So once you create enough content, there's always going to be some new content. You're evolving as a business owner. New things come. You can always create new content. But once you have the basic build, you're laughing. It's a lot easier than adding the strategy. Otherwise, you're putting too much stress on you and your business.
Especially if you have to learn how to create your own graphics and what to write in your captions. Like, so here's the basics, okay? If you want to create consistency, a great place to start with, it's very minimal. It's even below like my recommendation, but 3 to 4 posts a week minimum is doable. It's manageable. Depending on your level of experience in creating graphics, or taking pictures or writing captions, that should not take you very long at all to create 3 to 4 posts in a week. And maybe you just set like the days that you're going to know I'm going to post on this day and I'm going to post on this time, right? Little tip. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the highest engaged days on Facebook. So there's that if you want to choose those 3 days. I like to personally space them out when I'm making that recommendation to someone that's new on the platform. But 3 to 4 days, just start. And you don't have to do that forever, but maybe give yourself a month of consistent content creation and then say, okay, next month, I'm going to add post number 5 and 6 in a week, right? And then maybe a month later, you're like, okay, I can do a post every single day. And as your skill set continues to develop, as you figure out your processes, and now you've got content to go back on and begin to repurpose, then you're starting to flow. And it's not a matter of my time is being put into how do I do this? Your time is put more into, okay, I know how to make a post. I can make a post like that. So I need to figure out how to make this post more effective, right? And then you get into strategy. Does that make sense?
I love that. I love that a lot. Yes. It's just like the idea of launching is to knowing the basics before you can launch. Otherwise, literally I've seen people end into a burnout. Yeah, I love that so much.
Yeah. Burnout. You want to avoid burnout at all
Yes.
costs.
Yeah.
Yep. Another thing to talk about with Facebook marketing in general is like some of the types of content, and I pulled a couple of stats for me to be able to share, but the types of content I think is important too. Like most users go to Facebook to look at photos and to look at videos, right? I was actually surprised, but not. Just in the last year, the tables have turned, and Instagram is 100% the #1 most used social media platform as of the most recent stat that I saw. That it was by Sprout Social, but they said Instagram is basically taken over, but people are still using Facebook. 45% of users are going there to look at photos. So especially like whether you're a traditional like brick and mortar business, or even like I'm an online business owner, I'm in my house. Like that's where I do business, is in my home or in coffee shops. And when you post pictures of your life or where you're at or what you're doing or in your business, people can feel a personal connection to you. So photo content with captions, obviously. Video is always going to be king, and Facebook, like Instagram, has a favoritism towards video content. They will typically always, rank video content higher. But I understand, like, especially if you're just getting started, like video content may not be something you're comfortable with. Me and Sophie, like we could be in front of a camera probably all the time. In fact, I prefer it. I don't have to necessarily write something. I can just talk it. Cool. Let me do that,
Yeah,
but
actually, I take all of my video content. I put it into a program called Otter. Guys, it is super cheap. It's $12 a month. It transcribes everything.
Yep.
And then I go and highlight my quotes in my post, and then I create content.
Yeah.
But it always sounds like me, right? Sometimes when I'm writing, I don't know if I try to be somebody else or words that I wouldn't even use. Like sometimes my husband's like, who wrote this?
I definitely do. I'm like, well, and then my English, my junior year of high school English teacher starts like coming up in my head, and she's like, this is terrible. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's 2021. No one cares about grammar. Okay. Especially on social media. But so video content, photo content is always going to be important. I do find strategy wise, people spend quite a bit of time thinking about obviously their caption, right? Your caption is ultimately what's going to build the relationship with your reader. It's going to be the thing that invites them in, that makes them feel like you know them, and that you're speaking to their needs. But it is the visual content that gets them to stop their scroll. And so they have equal importance. And so it is very, very important that when you are thinking about what am I going to put, it's like, what's the big flashy thing that's going to stop somebody? Does anybody remember those annoying pop-ups that used to happen on the internet?
Oh my God, yes.
And for some people, like depending on where you go on the internet, you still get pop-ups. But I don't get pop-ups on MacBook. It's one of the big reasons that I love it. But the bigger, the flashier, the more you're going to be like, what is that? You can't help yourself. It's like, have you seen the movie Ralph Breaks the Internet?
Yes, of course.
Yes! The pop-up guys, and they just like, and it's like the bigger, the louder, the fancier, like image, right? And like quick call to action or quick thing that's going to grab their attention, then that's going to bring them into the first couple of sentences, the first couple of seconds of your caption. And then your caption has to capture their attention. And then obviously you can unload on them and the rest of it if you want to. But when you think about creating content and being strategic with it, there's equal importance in your visual content as much as your written content. So don't try not to like favor one over the other. Just a tip, like if you're not great in graphics, 100% outsource that stuff. You can find people that are affordable within your budget, domestic, international, doesn't matter. If you're not a graphics queen or king, like, don't waste your time on it. If you have a little bit of budget, I'm serious. Maybe for me, in the beginning, it was only $200 a month for me to get all of my social media content graphics outsourced somewhere, and did that, and it saved me so much time. So if you're stressing out about the graphics, like, I don't want to have to learn this, outsource that sucker.
Yeah, I don't get overwhelmed with graphics, but it can be a time sucker. I love designing things, right? And next thing you know, you're still an hour later on this one graphic.
Right. Right.
Oh my gosh, I have been there.
Yeah, decision-making paralysis is what it really comes down to. It's like, if you give yourself too much, especially if you are creative, you're like, ooh, but I could do it like this, you know? That's why I like when I had my designer doing stuff, I was like, give me 2 options. Don't send me 10. I won't make a decision. Like, 1 or 2, please.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I create all of the funnels, all of the design, and sometimes I have to put timers on otherwise.
Yeah, yep. I see a good question in the comments. Do you see that?
Yeah, I'm putting it on the screen.
Yes. Okay. So if we've created a post for Instagram, can we post the exact post for Facebook by changing the size format? What are your opinions on that? And is it okay to repeat the stuff on various social media platforms by changing the size ratio for them? Yes, 100%. Now, depending on like Instagram, Facebook, like caption wise, they play along pretty similarly. On Facebook, you can put hyperlinks in the caption. In Instagram, you can't. They're not clickable. In the caption section, you'd have to put it in the link in your bio, and I use a link tree, or I use my Kajabi page for that, and I just have the landing page. Image-wise, Facebook and Instagram, they do have different image ratios, but it's not a make or break. Because they format on a mobile device pretty much the same way. 1080 by 1080 pixels, and Canva, if you use Canva, like I love using, it's so easy. They have that size template ready to go for you. Where you might see a big difference is obviously like going from a newsfeed post to a story post. That's going to be a different ratio. Generally speaking, though, like Instagram to Facebook, you should be fine using the same content. The thing I would be aware of, if you have an active following currently, is just making sure that the time of day that you recreate that content to go out and you schedule it to go out, if you're using a scheduler, which I highly, highly recommend. Creator Studio is free. It's by Facebook. You can also use Buffer, Hootsuite, Later. I mean, there's plenty of them. But you want to make sure that you're posting different times, like the times that the users are most likely to be online. So like my Instagram users are evening and nighttime users, but my Facebook followers are daytime people, which is very interesting.
That is interesting.
No. And my demographics on Instagram are heavily female, and it's really 50-50 on Facebook. So very interesting. So just something to keep in mind. But I do that stuff all the time.
Every day.
Yeah. What I think you should ask yourself is, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I copy the same, like have the same post on Facebook go to Instagram? What's it gonna hurt? It's not gonna hurt anything, really. Because if you think about it, people have their preferences, right? I'm on Instagram more than I'm on Facebook, but it's pretty close. But there are some people who they are only on Instagram, and they only get on Facebook when it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they're at work, or they're like doing whatever, they're at their kids' gymnastics and they've got extra time and Instagram's bored them, right? People have their preferences. So if you're not on both platforms, which I love the advice you gave earlier, Sophie, or you and Joanne were talking about, is like, figure out your platform and like get really good at that, but also then start to add in some of the other ones. If you know your ideal client is on Facebook more than anything, focus all your energy on Facebook, and then just like replicate that content for Instagram or for LinkedIn and so on. So that's one of my biggest time savers is, write the same content for everything.
Absolutely. And it's not because they're following you on Instagram that they're following you on Facebook, right? It could be 2 different
I have way different audiences. I also use my Facebook content or my social media content sometime for email marketing. So there's a little tip too. Repurposing content. You said it earlier, Sophia. I'm like, yeah, repurpose your content as much as you can at times.
Every single day, like every video gets put into Otter. Everything. I keep all of the content. I'm never looking for content.
So good.
Huge time saver for sure.
That's a great question.
That's awesome. Those are amazing tips. Did you have anything else for us today? I know you have a free gift. I'm just grabbing the link.
Yeah. So just a couple of things. Like one of the things that I do get asked, like, how do I know if my audience is on Facebook or if they're on Instagram more? I do think it's important to know that like, okay, something that I just found out, 80% of users like for Facebook are using it on their mobile device. So here's something that I just think about. Like my grandpa's 71 years old. That man's not using his mobile device for much, but he is a retired insurance agent. He lives down in Florida. Him and his wife do really well for themselves. If your target market is that retiree 65 and up, like, he's not on the mobile side of things. He's going to be on the desktop side of things. He doesn't have an Instagram. He has a Facebook, right? So if that's your target client, like if that's your target audience, like you probably want to prioritize Facebook and you want to make sure that it's going to be best viewed on a desktop, right? Some just things to keep in mind. You can find a lot of these stats by just typing into Google, like who uses Facebook in 2021, and a lot of these stats can be shared with you. But as a regular like source for people, like I just realized that I'm like, yeah, of course it's like this. But so 68% of Americans use Facebook on a daily basis. And this shocked me. 36% of people use it for their news. I don't. I can't stand that they put the news button in the bottom of my bar on Facebook. I'm like, I don't want to see that. And then they force notifications and I have to clear notifications. So then I have to look at it. So anyways, like most people are on Facebook to stay informed about current events, but more importantly, they want to stay informed about their family and their friends. And that's the kind of content that people like on social media. I also get asked questions about Facebook ads, which I'm not really going to get into. But something I do want to say is that if you're going to invest into a Facebook ad strategy, I think that you first need to make sure that you invest in like an ad analysis, like work with a consultant who can help you to see like how can you be the most effective with your budget. Don't just start throwing money out on boosted posts or trying to wing it yourself because real estate is limited in the Facebook ad space. So just be mindful about that. I'm not against it, but it's when you have a Facebook business page, Facebook's going to tell you every day, like, oh, this post is doing better. You should put some money behind that and we can send it to 2,000 more people. Oh, how much? $20. And then you've got $20 here, $20 there, and there's nothing to back it up, right? So just be mindful about that kind of stuff. But those
I agree with that. With the ads, you know, that's a big thing with the entrepreneur. You're really fast you want to build your audience, build your email list, go and get ads. None of that will fix your business if you can't sell. And if you don't know who you're selling to, I cannot stress this enough. It is a complete waste of time and money. Get to the basic. If you can't sell, you don't create ads. Not right away. You're not ready for it.
Yeah, I think the world of social media happens so fast that when people come into having a business in the social media space, they immediately want to do the thing that is like hot right now, which for a while it was ads, right? Now it's reels and like video content. But if you don't have the basic things in place, like if you aren't working with a social media coach or a online business coach who can help you lay the foundation of your business, you're going to jump in. You might do a lot of work. You might see some quick results, but it's not going to last over time. You're running yourself straight into a wall called burnout. So it's so important to lay the right foundation and to build your stamina and to build your knowledge over time versus just trying to go heavy and hard if you don't know what you're doing and just trying to keep up with everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my free gift. Okay. So some of the things that we talked about today, creating content consistently and on a regular basis, making sure that you have your like your profiles optimized so that they're attractive to your audience. I've got all of that inside of my free guide, which is the 9 things your social media marketing cannot be missing if you want to grow online. So tips for creating content consistently, profile optimization, engaging with your audience, these 9 things. Like, if you want to grow, this is your foundation. Basically, like these things are your foundational items that need to be in play. Outside of that, the biggest things that you need to talk to a potential coach about is maybe like your branding, your messaging, and how to sell. But these 9 things you need to have in place. So that's my gift to you all.
Amazing. That's such an amazing gift. Thank you so much.
Yep, absolutely. It's been fun.
Yes. So I believe you're in the Collaboration Corner Facebook group, correct? So if you have any questions, make sure you connect with Danielle. Just tag her into the group or connect with her on social. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you so much. And we'll chat soon.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. All right. So next up, we're on fire today. Hi, Laura. Okay, here you go. I think your sound's on. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Laura is here to talk to us about LinkedIn. I never know which one is the right way. LinkedIn. Okay, to say this. And
yeah,
I know, can we get her? Yes, we'll put the info. Give me a second, Maureen. So I think that it's one of those platforms that is underutilized and that could be better utilized for a lot of entrepreneurs. So I'm really, really, really excited to dive in with that with you. But before we dive into the social media platform, I'd love to hear a little bit more about you and how you got started.
All right, sure. Thank you so much for this opportunity to really talk about LinkedIn. And you're right, LinkedIn is a platform that is really, really underutilized. But again, my name is Laura. I forgot to say that, but my name is Laura, and I am a LinkedIn marketing coach. And I help coaches and VAs go from unknown to being the number 1 authority on LinkedIn by really creating highly converting content so they can book out their services and get consistent leads or generate consistent leads, right, using LinkedIn. So I started as a social media manager on Instagram, and for some reason I just really did not find. I loved Instagram. I still use Instagram. However, my main platform now is LinkedIn, of course. But as a social media manager, I did not really find my place on Instagram. I loved it, but what I did was I felt like I was kind of regurgitating what every other person was saying on Instagram. So I didn't feel like I was standing out, and that was just me personally. But I heard a lot about LinkedIn from Gary Vee. I don't know if you guys know Gary Vee, but so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this platform a little bit. And once I got on LinkedIn, I got my first client from LinkedIn after about 2 weeks, from just trying that platform and just engaging with people and really just figuring it out. And I'm like, okay, this is good. Let me just see how this platform is. And then I really start diving on LinkedIn and start working on LinkedIn and start figuring it out on LinkedIn. Laura has amazing social. Oh, Maureen. I'm like, that is Maureen. I think I know her. But so I really start diving on LinkedIn and using LinkedIn. And I loved LinkedIn. I felt like LinkedIn is that platform where I could make a lot of and just be myself. And no one really knew me on Instagram, but I was able to just be myself on LinkedIn and really make mistakes and learn a lot about that platform. And I just fell in love with it, with the platform, and really grew rapidly from LinkedIn. So that's how I started on LinkedIn. And then I switched into becoming more of focusing my social media management with LinkedIn, and then becoming a LinkedIn marketing coach. So that's basically it.
I love that. I love that you say that you're able to be yourself on LinkedIn, because that's important, right? If you're not feeling like yourself, I mean, we can get into imposter syndrome, not attracting the right client. I mean, I could go on and on and on forever.
Absolutely.
So I love that when you try that platform, you felt some comfort in there,
Yes,
right? So
yes,
I
yes.
absolutely love that. So that is a huge tip for you. Like if a platform gives you anxiety, maybe that's not the platform to try right now. Maybe you're trying
Absolutely.
to do too much at once, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That. I mean, I really felt myself on LinkedIn. I felt like I didn't have to perform. But again, that's a personal thing. It doesn't mean that Instagram makes you have to perform. It was just a personal thing for me. And because I really found it hard. I wasn't confident. I found it hard to express myself, to articulate my thoughts, to write content. But with LinkedIn, I felt more comfortable putting out content and really expressing myself and growing. I felt comfortable really giving myself that time to grow on that platform and just being authentic and making those mistakes and learning from them as I made the mistakes. So that was it for me. And today we are going to be talking about LinkedIn. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to share my screen here.
Perfect. It's
And
like
let's see.
the little computer with a line. I don't know why there's a line on it, but it's that button.
Okay, I think I got it. All right, can you see it?
Yes, I'm putting it on the
Yes.
screen now. The screen is all yours.
All right, amazing. So I am going to talk about LinkedIn launch strategy, of course, how to really fill up your calendars with qualified leads during your launch using LinkedIn. So this session or this short live is really meant to help you understand how to ensure that you really have a full calendar of leads. If you are starting your business, maybe you're starting as a coach or you're starting as a social media manager or a virtual assistant, whatever it is, this is just to ensure that you really have a full calendar of leads when you are ready to launch your program, right? To make sure that you have those people leads there that you are ready to talk to and ready to convert, right? So that is what this live is really going to help you achieve. Now, in this session, what you're going to learn is you're going to learn why LinkedIn is the best platform for networking and lead generation, how to really increase your brand awareness before you launch and really build connections, and also how to fill up your calendar with leads who are really ready to buy from you. Now, let's talk about why LinkedIn is really the best platform for leads, right? So, like I said, I have used Instagram and I have used LinkedIn. Those are the main two platforms that I have used and that I really still use. But LinkedIn is it's way easier to really target your idle clients on LinkedIn. And I heard the previous speaker, sorry, I can't remember her name, and she was talking about it's very important for you to have these foundations, like really understand your target audience. And it's same with LinkedIn. Once you know who these people are, once you're really clear on your target audience and really clear about who they are, right? How to find them. It's way easier to find them. It's so easy to find these people on LinkedIn because LinkedIn has tools that really helps you narrow down that target audience, right? It's not just going out and being like, okay, I help coaches. But if you're like, I love helping maybe business coaches or mindset coaches who are in this particular region, who do this particular thing, right? It's so easy for you to really target those particular people and start creating connections with them. Now, the second thing why LinkedIn is really great, or why you should be on LinkedIn, is because right now LinkedIn has so much reach and visibility, right? Because the platform is really underutilized, even though people are really getting onto the platform right now because they realize how awesome the platform is and how great it is for your business. So, with that being said, LinkedIn is really trying to push content, right? People who create content, people who are active on that platform, they really push your content, right? They give you more reach, more visibility, especially if you come on the platform like you're a new content creator, right? And you come on the platform and you're really creating content. You have so much reach and visibility because they want you to stay on the platform. They want you to create content. They want you to share, right? Share your thoughts, share your story, right? So it has so much reach and visibility right now. Something that you really want to take advantage of once you're launching your business or you're launching your new course or your new service, whatever it is. And again, LinkedIn is an SEO platform, it's a search engine platform. And what that does is once you create content on LinkedIn, for especially articles, your articles are actually searchable on Google. Like, for example, if you have a LinkedIn account right now and you try to search your name, the first thing that really comes up on Google is your LinkedIn account. Like that is pretty much where people find if they're trying to find you, they're gonna go there and if they Google your name, one of the first things that come up is your LinkedIn account. So that's how people are able to find you. And also, if you create articles on LinkedIn, they are searchable on Google. So if you have these amazing articles about, let's say, how to market yourself on LinkedIn, and someone is looking for how to market themselves on LinkedIn, so how to use LinkedIn using Google, actually your article is able to pop up. That means more reach, right? More reach for you, more visibility, because you're not only searchable on LinkedIn, but you're searchable on Google too. So that is just amazing. That is one reason why I really, really love LinkedIn. And what they're trying to do right now, they're still in the process, is they do not want to, they just don't want your articles to be searchable on Google. They're trying to make your content, your videos actually searchable on Google too. So that is really, really amazing. Now let's talk about how to really increase brand awareness before you launch. So once you're launching, you want to make sure you cannot just appear on a platform and expect to get people interested in whatever it is you're saying, or get people interested in your services and get booking calls with you and all of that, right? You have to build brand awareness. You have to make people people have to know about you. They have to know about who you are, what you're about, right? That's how you build brand awareness. That you have to build like momentum for whatever it is that you're trying to launch. So in order for you to build that brand awareness, the very first thing you really want to do once you get on LinkedIn is you want to update your profile to address your idle clients and to bring awareness, right, to your new program or your new service. So your profile is like your mini sales page. Your profile on LinkedIn is so important. You have no idea. Your profile is, like I said, it's your mini sales page. And usually what people do is they just get so worked up about creating a website or creating this and that. But with I have a website, but I really don't use it, right? But your profile is that page where they can get everything that they need about you, about your program, about your testimonials, everything that they need to know about your program or your services, they can really find out from your profile. So if you want to build brand awareness about your launch, about your new program, about your new business, you have to update your profile. And one thing you need to know when you're updating your profile is have in mind that your profile is not about you, it is about your ideal clients. So the mistake that a lot of people make is you go and you update your profile and you're talking all about yourself, telling people about how amazing you are, all of this degrees you've had, all of this uh, programs you've done, and all whatnot, right? Like nobody cares about that. People care about themselves. They care about what you can do for them. So once you are updating your profile, you have to make sure that you use your idle clients as reference rather than using yourself as reference. You're using your idle client to update your profile. You have them in mind as you update your profile. And as you update your profile, your banner, which is like your billboard, right? For your profile or for you, for your business, you want to make sure that you are really bringing light to your program, bringing light to the new service that you're about to launch, or new offer, whatever it is, right? So whenever you're ready to launch, before you actually launch, like give yourself, people usually say 7 weeks, let's just say 2 months, right? People have different time frames, but it's like 2 months to 7 weeks, something like that. Within that time, when you're really building brand awareness, you want to make sure that your profile is actually directed towards that. You're addressing your ideal clients on your profile. You're using them as reference. Your help statement, your headline, your about page, your featured section, all of that. I know it sounds like a lot, but once you go to LinkedIn, you understand better what I'm talking about. But your profile is where you tell your ideal clients about this new offer, about what you're launching, about yourself, your business. You're addressing them on your profile. Right. And then second thing you want to do to really build a brand awareness about your launch, about your program, is you want to create content that builds authority and articulates your expertise by addressing your ideal clients' pain points, right? So by now, before you launch, you already know who your ideal clients are. So you start creating content. Like I said, LinkedIn loves people who create content because a lot of people do not create content on LinkedIn, right? They have over 750 million people, but about 3% of those people consistently create a content. I don't know if that number has changed, but that has been the number for the past couple of months, right? And just imagine the number of people who actually create valuable content. So if you get on LinkedIn and you're actually creating valuable content consistently, I guarantee you that the LinkedIn algorithms or the LinkedIn gods or whatever you want to call it, they are really, really going to push your content, right? They're going to push your content to the people who are actually interested in your service. And they know that from your profile. Like I said, your profile should address your ideal clients. Your profile should have keywords that your ideal clients are using, keywords that your ideal clients are searching for once they want to find you. So your profile, your content, the keywords you use, and remember I said LinkedIn is a search engine platform. So the words you use, the keywords you use actually dictate to the algorithm where to show, who to show your content to, right? So as you create content, you want to make sure that your content builds brand awareness, your content builds authority for your content builds authority for your program, for your business, right? And I usually talk what I teach actually in my programs, I create, or I talk about 3 goals for your content. It should create brand awareness, should create authority, should create demand for your services. Now, before you launch, you're creating content that builds brand awareness and authority, right? Because you are building authority, you're building brand awareness about your offer, about your program, about your business. You want people to know you, right? You're building excitement, right? That is what you want. That's the kind of content that you're building, and you're addressing pain points during with this content. You are not just talking about yourself, you're not just on selling, but you're building authority because you are actually addressing pain points, and you are really giving your audience, really letting them understand that you know exactly what you're talking about, you know what they're struggling with, and you know how to help them, right? Now, the other thing that you want to do during or before your launch is you want to connect with your ideal clients and engage with them by really providing value even as you engage. So one thing with LinkedIn is engagement. Like I said, it is the best platform for networking and lead generation. So networking is a huge part of LinkedIn. If you really want to generate leads, you have to network, you have to engage with people. It is so important for you to do that. And I always say, what you want to do is you want to go to maybe bigger influencers pages and engage with their content, add to the conversation, right? And do not just put, oh, thanks for sharing, and put just emojis, but you want to add value. You want to add to that conversation. And I guarantee you, once you do that, you should like spend, let's say, 30 minutes a day actually engaging with these people in large influencer communities. Because what happens is people love to read, people actually literally read the comments a lot on LinkedIn to really get value, right? To get other people's perspectives. You realize that once people do that and they come across your content or your engagement or your comment, and it's actually adding to the conversation, it's adding value, right? What they're going to do next is they're going to click and go to your profile. And if your profile is well optimized, they're going to be like, this person is someone that actually I feel like can actually add value, someone that I would love to follow. And then they're going to follow you or they're going to connect with you. And that is how you start creating those connections with people, and you start building connections, you start networking, and you generate leads, right? So it's so important for you to engage with people. You have no idea how many leads I've been able to generate just by engaging. It's amazing, right? And it's something that you might feel like, oh yes, people say engage, but engaging, I guarantee you, it works on LinkedIn once you really engage with people and add value, add to the conversation, not just give, oh, thanks for sharing, thank you for this post or something like that, right? Now let's talk about during your launch, how to fill up your calendars. Now, during this time, you are creating content that builds demand. So before, we talked about creating content that builds brand awareness and authority. Now, during your launch, you're creating content that builds demand for your services, right? So you have to know how to really separate this content, because once during your launch is the kind of content you create when you're really not launching anything is different from what you're creating when you're launching. So here you're creating content that really builds demand for your services, content that really points to mistakes, content that points to what you're or you're putting showing them testimonials, you are pointing out mistakes and all the mistakes that they're doing, you're telling them what they can do better, right? And pointing them actually to how your service is going to get them to the transformation that they want. You're showing them transformation, you're adding value, you're really articulating the value of your own services and your own expertise, right? By pointing out those mistakes and giving testimonials and talking about, even if you do not have testimonials from others, use yourself as reference. That is so important. Use yourself as reference, how you have actually used your process to get to the transformation that you are helping other people with, right? Now, also, you want to develop an outbound outreach strategy and invite people who you've actually been engaging with and who are your ideal clients on a call to talk more about your services. So LinkedIn, a lot of people will tell you, oh, do not do outbound outreach. But the truth is, once you're just starting out and you've really not built a lot, like, because building authority, really getting to that number one authority, it takes time. But once if you're launching and you're like, okay, I have 2 months to launch and I want to do a really build brand awareness, I want to get people on calls to talk about my services and to get to know them and all of that, you have to have an outbound outreach strategy. And this is not you just going into someone's DM and telling them, oh, I have this, I want you to buy, or I want you to get on a call with me. No, you have to really go into it with like what you want to do is you want to make sure that the people that you have been engaging with, you have been talking to, are the people that you reach out to first, right? And the beauty about LinkedIn is, like I said, it's a networking platform. And as you connect with people, as you start those conversations, even when you send out this connection request, when you send out, I have a free resource that will help really break that down, what all of that means. But once you really reach out to people to connect with them, that is how you start conversations with them. And that can actually build up and get people to learn more about your services, get them on a call with you, get them to ask you more about what you do and how you can help them, right? So having an outbound outreach strategy is so important. And like I said, you do not want to just get into people's faces and say, oh, buy my service, buy this from me. I want you to buy my new program. No, but you have to come, you have to approach it from a place of trying to help. You have to approach it from a place of, yeah, exactly, trying to help, and not, and also make sure that the people that you are actually reaching out to and engaging with, and actually reaching out to are people that you've actually engaged with, people that you've been talking to, right? And you've understood that, or that they need help, or they've expressed to you that what they're struggling with, and people that have actually commented on your post, people that have engaged with your post and all of that, right? But again, with an outbound strategy, is you do not just sit and wait for people to reach out to you. That comes as you grow. However, from the start, you want to be that person that really starts those conversations and those connections and start reaching out to people, right? Again, I talked about your LinkedIn profile. Use your LinkedIn profile as a sales funnel and direct people to book a call with you. So what during that launch, your banner, of course, is directing people to book a call with you. Your banner, your headline is directing people to book a call with you. Your cover story, which is a small video that talks about your, or talks about who you are, your business, is directing people to book a call with you, or is directing people to your lead magnet if you're not launching yet, something, all of that, right? That's why I said your LinkedIn profile is a sales funnel, because like it's that place where once someone clicks on their profile and they really want to know about you, they get to listen to your cover story, or like, oh, she has a free resource, they're gonna go find it, or maybe on your featured section and download it. So it's just a really amazing platform that is meant to help you grow your business. It's meant to help you generate leads, right? And once you really learn how to use this platform, like you're gonna enjoy it for real. And if people think it's hard, it's really not hard to use LinkedIn, right? It's just once you know what to do, you start using it purposefully, and you don't have to spend hours on LinkedIn. You really start using it purposefully and know exactly what to do in order to consistently generate leads, in order to always have these people on your pipeline and have people getting on calls with you, and you validating those people to actually see if they're a right fit for your service. So that's basically it. And like I said, I do have a free resource, which is LinkedIn's best practices for more reach, visibility, and lead generation. And it's really how to help you get your first 1,000 quality leads on LinkedIn. So it's really just going to guide you and tell you all the best practices for LinkedIn to really start building authority and to start generating leads for yourself using that platform. So I'm just gonna go back here. I think Riley is gonna let me back
Here you
in.
go. Hi. That's amazing. So
Hey.
I have put your free gift into the comments. We're just going to go into
Okay.
comments because you did get a few questions. So first off, Larissa's asking what type of content is good for LinkedIn. You did talk a lot about that. I don't know if you want to touch on it a little more. Larissa, let us know if you still have any more questions about
Yeah.
content.
Yeah. Let me just talk a little bit about content. So most people do is they just repurpose, just take the content how it is on Instagram, how it is on Facebook, and just dump it on LinkedIn. But that really doesn't work. LinkedIn is that platform that it really doesn't work like that. LinkedIn, the LinkedIn is it's yes, it is for it's a platform where people love to read. However, with LinkedIn, people personal stories. And the way you use personal stories is you always want to relate it back to your offer, relate it back to your services, or relate it back to how the transformation of what you offer, and this is all the transformation of for another person. But if you want more reach, really more brand awareness, talk about personal stories. But what mistake that people make on LinkedIn is they just give random personal stories that have nothing to do with what they're offering. There's a time for that, right? However, if you are doing it within that stage or that place pre-launch and launch, you want to really talk about personal stories that come back to your offer and come back to that transformation that you provide. Those are great. Also for the videos right now are really really great, but you want to make sure that you're optimizing your videos, and it has like this the title and has subtitles. So the kind of content that really works, like I said, is content that builds brand awareness, authority, and authority is really talking about your services, talking about tips, hot tips that can really help your idle clients. And in order for you to really understand the kind of content to really create that is going to build that authority is by knowing your idle clients. Once you know them, creating content becomes easier,
I
right?
love
Because
that.
you're creating content for them.
That's awesome. Okay, we have another question. Does LinkedIn have a separate platform area to post your article, blogs, or are you supposed to write the article in the normal post section?
Oh, yes. So in the normal post section, if you just go to LinkedIn, you're going to see a point that says write an article. What I usually advise is just copy your article and paste, or your blog and just paste in the article section. If you go on LinkedIn now and you go to create or write a post, you're going to see different options. Just write a post, share picture, video, article, documents, right? You're just going to choose article and then just paste your article or your blog right there. You do not just want to share your link because they don't want you going out of LinkedIn, right? They want you to stay on the platform. So just copy your blog and post as an article. That is it.
That's amazing. So I've learned two things, that and that LinkedIn is an SEO, which I did
Mhm,
not know. I love
mhm.
learning. So so I'm excited. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Laura. I believe you're also in the Facebook group. If
Yes, I am.
they have any question, they dropped your link of your Instagram as well already in the comments. So definitely go chat with Laura if you have any linking questions. I am so happy that you took the time to come and chat. I've learned
Thank
so much,
you.
so I know that everybody did. And
Thank you.
we'll chat with you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh my goodness, how amazing was that? I love learning. I love learning, and I might be checking out Lincoln. I might be like, I am slightly curious. Let me know in the comments what you thought, because that was amazing. Yes, Larissa. Laura was awesome. All right, so our next guest speaker is going to talk to us about all things blogging. Let's bring up Ashley. Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Hey, doing good. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I think it's maybe my favorite day. Social media, blogging, Pinterest. I'm
Oh, it's the
slightly
best.
obsessed. Yes. So today you're going to talk to us about blogging and how we can grow, our launch list all year long. But before we dive in, I'd love if you can just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, sure. So I work with business owners and entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, like you said, like through the power of blogging. I like to say that I help them go from ghost town blog to like more traffic than an LA freeway at rush hour so they can stop feeling like they're just shouting into the void and finally have a blog that fuels their business like they deserve.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And I love that analogy. It speaks it speaks volume. That's amazing. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
goodness,
I
so
want to point
excited.
out one thing. My talk today is for anyone. Like you do not, because I'm talking today about guest blogging in particular. And so you do not have to have a blog in order to do guest blogging.
Oh, that's exciting. Listen, guys, you will probably hear me over the next few days. I'm going to talk about collaborations, but collaborating, it is such a beautiful, beautiful way and organic way to grow your business. So this just makes me happy.
Yes. So I did put together a slideshow. Would it be too difficult to show
Amazing.
it?
No, of course not. So on your screen, you have three buttons. There's the third one with a little that's grayed out. Is a little computer with a line on it. Just click on it and choose the tab that you want to show.
Okay, let's see. It looks like it's not going to let me show
It
the
should.
presenter screen because it's on another screen on my computer. So let me make it not, I can do this.
I also have multiple screens.
Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world, but it doesn't always work with like presenting things. So it just means it's going to have a little header bar, I think, in the, because it won't be maximized. But let me try this again. Share screen, window. There we go. So it won't be as sleek as I wanted it to be.
Oh, well, it is beautiful.
But so yeah, we're going to be talking about building your launch list through the power of guest blogging, or the title I thought of later on that I should have like built in instead, like how to get 1,000 new leads for your launch through guest blogging. So I think guest blogging can be a lot more powerful than people realize. So I'm really excited to just dive right in. So if you aren't familiar with guest blogging, basically all that it is writing a guest or writing a blog post. You're writing a blog post, but it's for someone else's blog and you have it published on their website. Like that's all that it is. And when it's done right, guest blogging can bring in a lot of leads. Like you can have well over 100 for just one post. And if you make it a major part of your launch efforts, you can easily have over 1,000 extra leads for your launch campaign. So like, that's not too shabby, right? I mean, like to give you a couple of examples of how powerful guest blogging can be when used in your business. There's this guy, his name is Adam Enfroy. He started out with an experiment of writing 8 guest blog posts in 15 days. And he ended up, it was so powerful for him that he wrote over 80 posts in a year. And he's now making over $61,000 a month, like not a year, $61,000 a month fueled by the guest blog posts. And then Buffer, like, you know, the social media software Buffer, they use guest blogging to attract 100,000 new customers. So like you could probably get a mere 1,000, right? Like that's totally doable. But that's not all. So if gaining new leads and customers isn't enough for you, guest blogging does do like a whole bunch more. It boosts your site's SEO by giving you backlinks. And if you're not super familiar with SEO, basically backlinks are one of the 10 most important things that Google looks at, like out there. It might even be one of the top 2. Like it's super important. So this is huge for that. It builds your authority. It helps increase your name recognition. It builds your traffic with like specifically targeted traffic. Like this is high quality traffic for your website. And it provides social proof. So, I mean, the benefits of guest blogging really just go on and on. So this is definitely worth like your time and your efforts. But how do you make sure that you're doing it strategically to get the best bang for your buck? That it's like really going to work for you, really going to bring in those leads? Well, I have a 7-step process that I like to follow for the best results. and I'm going to give you my best tips today. So the first step is to create a list of sites that you want to consider targeting to write for. And I have 4 easy different ways that you can find sites to add to your list. So you can end up with a really big list, because we're going to narrow it down. So the first way that you can add sites to your list is to take advantage of people who have already listed out sites that accept guest posts. So you would do a search for, and you can take screenshots of these slides to record like the searches I'll be recommend you doing and things like that. But you can do a search for list of keyword blogs that accept guest posts. So basically you would plug in different keywords that are related to your niche there. So for example, list of business blogs that accept guest posts, or list of craft blogs that accept guest posts, like etc. These lists aren't often kept updated, so you'll still have to do further research, but it's a really great starting point. And then the second way to find sites that accept guest posts is to do various keyword searches along with terms that you'll find on sites with guest posts. So this will like pull out websites that have evidence that people have guest posted there, or that they're seeking out guest posts. So you'll include your topics keyword plus any of the following. So it would be like your keyword plus write for us, your keyword plus guest post, your keyword plus guest blog, guest contribution, guest author, etc. And you can take a screenshot of the slide while I continue. So for example, in the business niche, you would search for business and then write for us, business and then guest post. And you want to make note that you don't put the keyword inside of the quotes, because that exact phrase is not likely to show up. You want the exact phrase of write for us or guest posts, but then the keyword is just to find sites in that niche that have that exact phrase, if that makes sense. All right, so by now you've probably seen throughout your research, you've probably seen some guest blogger names come up multiple times on different websites, some people that are posting in lots of places. So for them, we use that for our third method of finding sites that accept guest posts. You're going to do a search for that person's name and the phrase guest post. So I might do a search, for example, for Adam and for a guest post, which would be awesome because I know he's done over 80 guest posts. If they've guest blogged, like the logic is if they've guest blogged twice, if you've seen them show up, they've probably guest blogged more. And so again, you put the name outside the quotes and you do the search. And then you look at the sites that come up and just look and verify that it's a guest post, and then you can add them to your list. And then finally, for the fourth method of finding sites that accept guest posts, if you have any websites that you just know in general your ideal customer likes to go to, so these might be like competitors or just any sites that you know in your industry they enjoy, you can use them and take that list of keyword searches that I listed before. The one I said you'd want to take a screenshot of. And maybe I said that on a different slide. I'm sorry. There was a long list of keyword searches like write for us, guest post, etc. And instead of the keyword, you're going to plug in the name of one of those sites, one at a time, to see if you can find evidence that that site accepts guest posts. So let's say I was looking at Sophie's site to see if she accepts guest posts. You would go onto Google, and the way you do a site search on Google, and this is kind of specific, so you'll want to take a screenshot of this because it's a specific order of things, is you type site and then a colon and then the domain name. All of that goes without spaces. And then you add a space and your keyword from the list. So for example, it would be site:SophieRiley.ca space quote write for us. If that doesn't bring anything up, I would repeat site:SophieRiley.ca space quote guest post, and etc. And I would go down that line of search terms to try until I find evidence of guest blogging on her site, or until I run out of search terms to try. And then I would repeat this for each site on my list of sites that I know my ideal customer likes to frequent, but I don't yet know if they accept guest posts. So in step 1, we made an initial list of sites we could potentially guest post on. In step 2, we're going to whittle that list down. Because one big reason that guest blogging doesn't work for everyone, and this is really huge, is that sometimes they're not strategic with it and they skip step 2. Like they just, this might sound bad, but they just don't get picky. They guest post wherever they can, even though it may not be a great opportunity, but you're not going to waste your time. Like you're going to focus on approaching sites that appear to offer a greater opportunity. So in step 2, we're narrowing down your list of sites to approach to only those that have the best chances of providing a great return on your time and effort. So you're going to take your list of websites and you're going to put it in a spreadsheet. Don't worry, I'm going to give you the columns for the spreadsheet. For each website in your list, and I'll talk about what each of these columns are and what you want to do with them, but you want to record the domain authority. You want to record, and you can screenshot this, you want to record recent monthly traffic. You want to record email list size, if you can find it. You can't always find it. You want to record how many blog comments there are on average and how many social shares there are on average. You want to record if their social media sites are active. And finally, and this is the one you might want to start with actually, because it will rule some people out. You want to record if they require to submit a full post with your pitch. So we're going to cover these real briefly. A site's domain authority, or also known as DA, that's an SEO measure. And you ideally want to target sites. You don't need to know like anything else about it, but you ideally want to target sites that have a DA over 50. But you definitely don't want any under 30. This will ensure that your site will get the SEO benefit out of your efforts too, so that this is a real double whammy for you, so that you're like extra not wasting your time. As for the recent monthly traffic, you can get a site's recent monthly traffic measured in visits at a website called SimilarWeb. SimilarWeb, and it's free. Another traffic measure is the email list size. Now, you're not going to be able to find this for every site, but some sites mention it when trying to get you to sign up for their email list by saying things like, join 10,000 other savvy readers, and things like that. So if you spot mention of how many subscribers they have, you can record that because that helps indicate the size of their audience as well. Now, I want to make a point that the more people they have visiting their site, the better. So that's like their site visitors and their email list size. Because more people will see your post and could potentially convert into leads for you. However, typically a more engaged audience will be more likely to convert than just a bigger audience in general. So it's not just all about the traffic. It's about the quality of the traffic too. So that's why we're going to look at things like how many blog comments there are and how many social shares there are. So for the blog comments, to make this super easy on you, you can look at a few posts and take an average of the number of comments. So you can look at like 3 posts per blog and average out the number of comments on them. For the social shares, you can use a website called BuzzSumo, and you just plug in the URL of the website and you average the total engagement of their top 3 posts there as well. And then checking if their social media sites are active is pretty straightforward. You want to know, like, have they posted on their own accounts in the past few days? And this is important because it helps indicate whether they're likely to share your post out with their audience. And finally, you're going to look for their guest blogging guidelines. Not all sites post them, but for those who do, you want to look for mention of if they require you to submit your entire post at the time that you pitch it. Like if you have to write it in advance before they even say yes. You're going to want to immediately rule out those that do require this, because that is a lot of effort up front for a potential no. So I kind of recommend that you do this piece of research first out of all of them, because if it turns out to be a no, it saves you from having to look up all the others. So once you have all your columns filled out, you're going to go through each website listed and you're going to decide if you want to keep it on your final list of sites to pitch. The sites on your list should be focused within your niche or industry, of course. And they should, here's really important, they should cater to an audience that will be interested in what you have to offer. So make sure it's not just on your topic, but that their audience is likely to want what you're doing, because otherwise it's going to be wasting your time. So really make sure there's a good audience fit there. This is really key. And then, like I mentioned, you're looking to rule out any that have a DA below 50. Although honestly, I usually don't see harm in hanging on to the 30s and 40s as a backup list. So like after you've cycled through all the 50s pluses, or you can even start out doing some 30s and 40s, because sometimes they can be easier yeses. And then that will get you published. But just note that those will often have lower traffic as well. So you will get some lesser results from them. And then beyond the DA, it's up to you. It's up to you to decide where your cutoff is in terms of traffic, because different industries have different average levels of traffic. So I just want you to remember not to base everything off of traffic and email list size, but to take comments and shares into consideration as well. Because the more comments and shares, the lower the traffic can be, and you can still see good results. So once you've got your targets, if you will, your list of sites to pitch to, it's time to pitch to them, right? I mean, I'm excited. Let's go. Well, nope. Absolutely not. The vast majority of blog owners immediately ignore pitches from people they've never heard of before. So what do you do about that? Well, you start to build connections with them. There are different ways you can go about doing this. Some are easier, some are harder. I'm going to give you my two favorites. One way that takes a little more planning, but works really, really well is if you do have your own blog, and don't worry, they don't all require your own blog, but if you do have your own blog, you can create an expert roundup post. Have you heard of these? This is where you come up with an interesting question, just one question, that hasn't been asked a million times. And really the question is the key to a successful post. And you approach many of the bloggers on your list, usually like a couple dozen at least, because not all are going to reply, but you want a few dozen. You approach many of the bloggers on your list to interview them with this question for a roundup post. The best question is one where they can share insight and advice. And like I said, not all of them will participate, but many of them will. And then you create a blog post where you share and display everyone's answers along with their picture. You want to include a link back to their website. And also, to spruce it up a little, add your own brief commentary on their answer. Now, the really great thing from a connections perspective about a roundup post is that you interact with the blogger at least 5 times throughout the process. So it's a really great way to start building that connection. Now, if you really want to be golden, you can use this as a long-term strategy, and you can create a snowball effect with your roundup post if you do it strategically. It's really, really cool. I go in depth how to do this in my signature program, the Blogging Boss Success Accelerator. Yeah, that's a really awesome way. That's a really awesome way to build up lots of momentum, get lots of guest posts out of it. But involving them in roundup posts and promoting these posts heavily to your own audience as well, don't forget that step, is one way to get on their radar. Otherwise, you want to go the other way, and you just want to start following them and engaging with their content on a regular basis. So what this looks like is you sign up for their email list and you respond to some of their emails with thoughtful commentary. You make comments on their blog posts. You share their posts with your audience. And when you share their posts, always make sure you include a comment and you don't just drop the link. You add value to the conversation. And don't forget to tag them. It doesn't help to build the relationship if they don't even know that you're doing it. All right, so you've got the list of websites that you'd like to guest post on, and you've featured them in a roundup or two or interacted with their content for a while, at least a few weeks to a month. Now it's time to pitch. Almost. You can't pitch until you have the right topic chosen for their site, the right blog post idea. And now the right blog post idea has to meet a couple criteria first. It should fill some kind of a gap. In other words, it can't cover something that's already been covered before. With that being said, it still needs to be something their audience would be interested in. Because, I mean, some things aren't written about for a reason. And finally, of course, it needs to be something that you have expertise in and can write well about. But how do you come up with the right idea? Well, you really want to make sure that they say yes to your pitch. So you want to choose something that is likely to be popular with their audience. And how best to do that than to pick something related to what's already popular with them? So what you want to do is you plug their website into BuzzFeed and you look at the topics of their top posts and use them for inspiration to come up with related ideas and come up with your top 3 blog post ideas to pitch to them. You want your top 3. Come up with a whole bunch. Don't just come up with 3. Come up with a whole bunch and then narrow it down to the best 3 ideas. And then you'll want to come up with an enticing title for each one. My secret, it's not a lot of a secret, but my secret is to use headline analyzers like CoSchedule to really help me beef up my titles. All right, it's time. Yes, it's time. It's time to make the pitch. You've got 3 juicy blog post titles ready to go for one website. Now you're going to email them with your ideas. Now, I've got a guest blogging pitch email toolkit ready for you guys. Hopefully, Sophie can share the link.
Putting the link in the comments now.
Awesome. That will get you your first guest blogging yes, complete with 3 different email templates that you can use over and over and over again for different situations, and a pitch email cheat sheet with the most important tips for you to follow in your pitch emails. That's your guest blogging pitch email toolkit. And it's got all that you need to pitch your ideas. But just to give you a couple notes, you want to keep your emails as brief as possible. But at the same time, you do want to start out with some kind of comment mentioning something you've connected on with them recently so they can remember you and your connection. You'll also want to include a link to an example blog post that you've done. This is best if it's a guest blog post, but if you don't have one yet, it can be on your own blog. And if you don't have your own blog and you're just getting started, you've got 2 options. You can see if you have any connections that would allow you to guest post on their site, even if it's not as strategic for you business-wise in other ways. Or for that, you just want something that would get you published where you can display your skills and the quality of your work. Or your other option is to go ahead and submit an entire post with the pitch so that they can see what the post is going to look like. You can always repitch that post to another site if they say no, provided it's a good fit for their audience and what's popular with them as well. But never pitch the same post or the same post idea to more than one site at once. That is a no-no. All right, we're getting close to the finish. Once you get your yes, it's time to write the post. I won't go into what makes a good post here, but what's important for your launch is that you take care when you're writing your bio. This is what's going to really do it for your launch, and why this is such a big help for your launch process. In about 50 words or so, you want to, and make sure that you're writing in the 3rd person here, but you want to share what you do and how you can help your reader. And here's the big key. You'll be able to include a link back to your site. And this is the number 1 most critical part of this endeavor. Make this a link to a landing page for a lead magnet, not your homepage, not your blog. You want your link to send people to a page that has nothing on it except an invitation to sign up for your freebie. That means no menus up top, no site navigation, no home logo. They can't click away. They can't do anything except sign up for your freebie. Just a little bit of copy, maybe an image, and a sign up form to get on your email list. That's the whole point of this guest blogging thing when you're building your launch list, to get people to sign up for your email list. And the link to that page is what you're going to put in your bio. So once your post and your bio are finished, you can submit them. Woohoo! But you're not finished just yet. One more step, one final step. The very last step in the process is the follow-up. And when the post goes live, you want to make sure to do 3 things. First, you're going to share it. You're going to share it everywhere that you can, on every social media platform that you're on, and to your email list. You also want to add a link to it on your website, and you have 2 options here. If you have a portfolio page of all your guest blog posts, you can add it there. Or like if you're going to be guest blogging a lot, you might want to do that. Or you can create your own blog post with a little commentary introducing the guest post and a link to it there. Finally, you want to keep returning to the guest post itself and respond to all the comments there. Like that is critical for guest blogging. So there's your 7-step process to 1,000 extra leads on your launch list.
Oh my goodness, I loved it so much. All right, let's put you back onto the screen. Oh my God, I learned so much. I loved it. Who's like super excited to start writing guest blog post? It was hard to say, eh? All right, so I have your freebie into the comments. Are you in the Collaboration Corner Facebook group yet?
I need to get in there.
Come on in, just in case people have questions. And
Yes.
let's chat, because I would love to put your freebie featured into the Facebook group, because collaboration is what that group is all about.
I love it. And collaboration is so powerful and it's so fun.
It is fun. It can feel sometimes a little lonely as entrepreneurs, and collaboration can go from asking people if you can, market research. Sometimes it's hard, and sometimes you maybe feel shy about asking for market research. So those are people that are ready to help you with your market research. Collaboration on Instagram, live on Instagram, Facebook group, podcast, live collab. I mean, this week is a live collaboration, right? We are collaborating, which is so beautiful. Thank you so much. I absolutely learned so much. I loved it. We have a question here in the comments. I'll just put it up on the screen. So which blogging platform, according to you, is easy to use, easily customizable, and is good for SEO ranking as well?
Well, I think this is one of those things where it's like you get given 3 things that would be amazing, and they're like, okay, choose 2.
Oh my goodness, I feel that. Yes.
Because the blogging platform that I highly, 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 highly recommend is one that is very easily customizable. It is most customizable out of all the platforms I'm aware of, and it is the best for SEO out of all the platforms that I'm aware of. But some people do find it to be difficult to get accustomed to. Some people don't. Some people do find it easy. I think I'm lucky that I find it easy, but I know that not everyone's the case. And that is WordPress. And I know some people groan when I say that, because for some people it's just like, I've tried it and it's not intuitive for everybody. But it is highly customizable. You can do everything with it. And in a way, you can do everything with it easily because of the availability of a variety of plugins. So if you don't like the functionality of one plugin that does what you need, like there's other options. You're not stuck with just one option with like most other platforms.
I love that. Awesome. That was an awesome question. Let's just see here. So Larissa said that it's such a great place, a great route to take instead of starting from scratch. I mean,
Yeah,
we
and
all start from scratch, right? But it's so nice to hear that there is other options.
yeah. And guest blogging is really good, even if you're wanting to start your own blog. When you start your own blog, what I recommend is that you actually work on publishing at least as many, if not more, guest blog posts than your own blog posts at first, because of how powerful it is to build up your readership. And like guest blogging is just like a miracle drug. It's so helpful for so many things.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. Now, I'm not sure. I sent a few messages. My next speaker is not here. It was all about Pinterest. And that's okay. You'll learn anything about me is I am so flexible and I just roll with everything that happens. So hopefully we can get her on in another day. But by curiosity, do you use Pinterest along with your blogs?
You know, I haven't in a long time. I did many years ago, and then I got away from it. And I need to, because the problem was I didn't learn how to get good at it. And so I was frustrated because I know that Pinterest is also very, very powerful when you get good at it.
Yes. Because it has an SEO component to
Mhm.
Pinterest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my plan is to get good at it sometime soon.
Yeah. So would you say that's okay? We can do it together. My blog is launching next week. I have blog posts, I have guest posts coming. I'm super excited. But anyways, we can launch it together. It'll be fun. But I feel like this is one of those things where people try to launch too many things at the same time. So maybe you start with one and then the next one follows, right? So we talked about that a lot, to try to do one thing at once. So, launching your Instagram, your Facebook, your blog, your website, and your Pinterest all in the same week is slightly insane. And it's not something that you can keep up with, right? Because it's too much. There's too much content, too much new things, too many things that are going to feel like you're fighting your habits, right? You haven't gotten the time to build a habit. So then the frustration comes and then you feel overwhelmed. And it's perfectly, absolutely acceptable and absolutely amazing to do one thing at a time. I love this
Yeah,
strategy.
there's really power in mastering one thing. Because I think the amount of benefit you get when you're just like mediocre, or you're just dabbling, or you're just like trying, but you've got too much going on, and so you're not really able to focus. The amount of benefit you get out of it compared to when you're masterful at it is, I mean, you might even say exponential. It's definitely big enough that for the amount of time you spend in, you get way more benefit if
Yeah, that
if
is
you
so
spend the
true.
time to
Because
get masterful.
if you think like the small amount of time over a long period of time, if you can stay consistent with it, is amazing. I'm just in the process of finishing filming a program that's launching shortly. It's a little hint here, but I teach in 15-minute increments. So I teach 15-minute actionables. So let's say that you wanted to launch Pinterest. I'm going to teach you how to do it in 15 minutes, because 15 minutes is doable if you're really, really, really busy and you're not adding hours and hours and hours of work, right? Because if you think of launching Pinterest, maybe I don't even know. I do things really fast and I don't overthink. So sometimes how fast I did it is not how fast you're going to do it. But let's say, I don't know, it could take 10 hours. And I'm just estimating here. It does not have to take this long. It could take longer for some people. But if you do it in 15 minutes a day, then you have Pinterest launched in 30 days. Or you can just look at the 10 hours and you can feel overwhelmed because of all the things, right? So little action every day. So let us know if you have any question for Ashley into the comments before we wrap it up here. Ashley, thank you so much. I learned so much. I am super excited. I mean, I live for this stuff. And I love learning. So I'm so grateful. Your presentation was, oh my gosh, it was amazing. So I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. In the comments, we are asking about your Instagram handle, which I have, and your blog.
I'm not on Insta.
Don't blame you. I don't like it.
I've never been able to get into it. And I'm starting a new blog, so it's not available yet.
That's okay. You know what we're going to do when you do launch your new blog, please let me know and I will share it with my list and with people so that everybody here can have access and we could be excited, comment on the blog. Yay. I love new things. I love things when they're launching. I love things when they're relaunching. So we'll share that with everybody once you launch. No pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Blogging just lights me up. And seeing other people seeing like their businesses grow because they've been getting their blogging going is just like, it's just so exciting for me. So love it.
So they're saying perfect in the comments. So they're looking forward to it.
Yes. Can't wait to share it with you.
Me too. Okay, amazing. Ashley, thank you so much for being here. And I'll chat with you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
All right, so we are wrapping things up. And so I am sorry. I guess we're missing one speaker. You know, life happens and it is okay. I'm going to see if she can come on either on Thursday or Friday. And if not, I have tons of Pinterest tips that I can share with you. So it's going to work beautifully. But we've already been on for 2 hours. So I'm going to wrap things up. If you have any comments, let us know in the comments. And if you want to share, do you have a blog? Do you have Instagram? Do you have Facebook? Share everything into the comments so that everybody can look it up. Ashley, we were asking, how do we follow Ashley? I will send you an email and I will send you Ashley's contact information. Sounds good? So thank you again for being here. Thank you for taking a few steps into launching your business. I can't wait to see everybody tomorrow.